Cat is ready. All right. At this point, I'm going to call to order the Town Pension and OPEB Trust Oversight Committee meeting for September 19th, 2023. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Thank you and good evening. Councilmember Rennie.
Here.
Councilmember Moore.
Here.
Councilmember Hudes.
Here.
Vice Mayor Badami.
Here.
Mayor Risto.
Here. Okay, and at this point, we don't have anybody on remote participation. We only have one consent item, our minutes from our last meeting. Do I have any, I guess, I don't see any members of the public on the call or in the room, so there will not be public comment on the consent calendar. Any motions? Oops, let's silent our devices. Okay, Vice Mayor.
I'll go ahead and approve the minutes on the consent calendar. Item number 1.
Okay, we have a motion. Councilmember Moore.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed. The motion passes unanimously. Verbal communications, it looks like we have none. I see no cards, no people, and no attendees, never mind any hands raised. So we will then move quite efficiently to other business, item 2, and it looks like we'll go to Director Ngari.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. The first item in first of you, item 2, is received the California Employer Pension Pre-Funding Trust, which called CEPPT Strategy Market Value Summary Report for the period ending June 30th, 2023, and the performance as of July 31st, 2023. The town established and put money away to the CEPPT Pension Trust, and on March 3rd, 2020, the Town Pension and OPEB Trust Oversight Committee adopted the Strategy 2 as the asset allocation for the Town Trust. Currently, as of June 30th, we have $1.4 million in this trust, as you can see in attachment 1 of the staff report. And as of July 31st, 2023, the CEPPT Strategy 2 fund net return was 1.1%. The town anticipates to put an additional $690,000 to the CEPPT Trust Fund, and per the 2023 March direction, we are keeping the money in the trust until we further consider paying down any other unfunded pension liability. This concludes staff presentation, and we are ready for questions.
Thank you, Director. So I will turn to my fellow council members for any questions of staff. I'm not seeing any hands. We again have no attendees, but as a courtesy, okay, there's no public comment on this item. I'll close that and move to council members for questions, comments, or a motion. Councilmember Hudes.
Question, does this item normally go to the Finance Commission?
Yes, this item goes to the Finance Commission. We are going to provide them for the next scheduled meeting. We were not able to do it because the meeting was cancelled because of the lack of quorum. Usually it goes.
So as a follow-up, is there a requirement that the council adopt this at this time before the Finance Commission has considered it?
So the Town OPEB Pension Oversight Committee, you received this report. There is no adoption, and it's an informational report, and the Oversight Board has to determine the funding strategy. The Finance Commission would be an advisory body.
Okay, so is this out of sequence then, if we don't have a deadline and the Finance Commission hasn't looked at it yet? Does it make sense that we're considering it at this point?
So usually the Finance Commission, if there is no regular meeting, there was no meeting since June 20th, there we wouldn't have a way to hold it back or regular business just because we didn't have a meeting, and it might happen that there is no Finance Commission meeting and the reports becomes available. We go to the Oversight Trust quarterly. Those are the stand-up meeting, and the Oversight Board has the fiduciary responsibility over this trust.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I can make a comment, as much as we appreciate the Finance Commission's input, given that we have regularly scheduled meetings and we have fallen out of quorum multiple times, I think, knowing that they're only advisory, if they can't make a meeting happen, we need to keep moving. And otherwise, the agenda will just grow so large. With a couple of canceled meetings, we're not going to be able to then do 3 months' worth of meetings at the next meeting, et cetera. So I think we can fulfill our fiduciary responsibility tonight.
Yeah, just as a comment, it might be that we should take a look at the attendance policy and the remote participation policy relating to the Finance Commission, because they have had several major cancellations. So maybe that's something the policy committee ought to take a look at in the future.
Thank you. I don't disagree. There is no attendance policy due to the way that ballot initiative was written, but turn to the manager to see if we can get that agendized for the policy committee to see.
I think we can send a written response to the council. When the question came to us earlier this year, we explained that it's actually the state law, the Brown Act, that requires 3 members to be in person, not our local policies. So it's really the Brown Act that is causing the lack of quorum with the Finance Commission, and we have to uphold state law.
Right, and I don't disagree with that. I think our other commissions have attendance policies where if somebody can't make meetings, they would be replaced, and we cannot do that with this commission at this point. So that might be something to consider for the future, but we're sitting here right now, and so we're just receiving this. Do we need a motion?
Yes, that's correct. No motion needed.
Okay, then I think we should move on to item 3, please.
Thank you. The item 3 in front of you is received the California Employer Retiree Benefit Trust SERP Strategy 1 Market Valuation Summary Report as June 30th, 2023, and the Performance Report as of July 31, 2023. The SERP Trust is, we established it's a longer time, and this fund is helped to mitigate the cost of the retiree benefits. Currently, the staff asset as of June 30th, 2023 is $24.3 million. And the Strategy 1 fund had a net return of 2.82%. We put quite a lot of money during couple of last fiscal years to this fund trust, but we didn't put any money during the last fiscal year. This was our mitigation strategy, not to put more money in it. And so that concludes the presentation.
Thank you. Any questions from council members? And I will point out again, we have no attendees in the room or here. And so until I see an attendee on Zoom or show up in here, I'm not going to worry about public comment. Okay, I've opened public comment and I'm closing it. Thank you. And now moving to my fellow council members. Comments, questions? We're just receiving this. We don't need a motion, but is there any input or comments? I appreciate the report. Obviously, it's done so well. We have nothing more that we can say about it. And we can move to item 4, please.
Thank you. Item 4 is received the CalPERS Actuation Valuation Report as of June 30th, 2022. CalPERS issues annual valuation reports for the town. Anyone who has the pension plans administered by CalPERS. The town has 3 kind of plans. Safety employees are in a safety plan. It's a pooled plan. And miscellaneous employees and the miscellaneous standalone plan. The safety plan has a PEPRA members and a separate PEPRA report, and for a classic members report. That's why we have 2 separate standalone report, attachment 1 to 3 attached to the staff report. The purpose of that staff report, the purpose of the CalPERS valuation report is provide the determination of the minimum required employer contribution for the fiscal year 2024-25. and also sets the PEPRA rate for that rate. The report is a very lengthy report, as you are all very familiar. It has a lots of risk analysis and scenarios in it. We all know that our plan is a matured plan, is very sensitive to the investment returns, and since this valuation report as of 2022 June 30th, the investment return was a negative return that time. So the funded status that provided in page 19 of the staff report shows that currently the miscellaneous funded status is 75.9%, the safety plan 68.7%, and the PEPRA safety plan is 87.6%. And as the staff report just listed, those percentages were significantly higher in the previous year when the investment return was 21%. Compared to 2022, the investment report was negative 6.9%. So that concludes staff presentation, and we are here to address any of your questions.
Thank you. Any council member questions before I go to public comment? Council member Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Director. So are the negative returns the sole reason for the drop in the funded status?
I would say that CalPERS does some adjustment and assumption changes, but the majority of the driver of the funded status is really the investment return change.
Thank you.
Okay, I will open the public comment, and still no attendees or anyone here. I don't see any hands raised or cards, so I will close the public comment. Move to Councilmember Rennie.
One thing I note here is the accrued liability for the PEPRA plan is only 1.7 million versus the accrued liability for the safety plan is 109 million. So it's seems strange that it's such smaller accrued liability, even though PEPRA plan's been in effect for 10 years now. Can you speak to that a little bit? Did we, 10 years is probably 40% of an officer's career, yet we haven't accumulated much liability.
So the one of the main reasons why this big difference, because I don't think we have any PEPRA retired members yet, and we have a very mature plan, which means that we have significantly more retired member of the plan than active member, and the safety plan, the classic safety plan, represent that mature plan. The PEPRA safety plan is, I wouldn't consider a mature plan.
So you're saying it's because a large part of the liability is from people that are no longer working but are actually already retired.
Yes, that's correct.
And we have to work through that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, so we are receiving this report as well, and so with that, we close this item, and it looks like that's it. So meeting adjourned.